Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this roll of wire through first, through the firewall, and then the grommet from the outside. So this is alternator power, solenoid, horn, coil, everything that goes to the engine bay for certain that I could put out at this grommet at this point here, the driver's side. So I'm going to cut some of these tape and feed this wire through. So I've got it unravelled, and I've just put tape every so often just to keep it sort of together. So I've decided to put the grommet on first. Just got a feeling it's probably going to be a bit too, well, I did have a thought earlier on as well, but so I'm going to put the grommet in first, and I've got this like a puller to help me from the outside pull it through. So I got the grommet. I'm going to put a bit of lubricant around this this front seal here, so when it pulls through, should help it. Apparently you can use Windex as well. You've got to use a grease that won't harm the rubber, guys. Greases and oils, different ones will hurt the rubber, will make it break down and be no good in a certain period of time. Okay, so you probably can't see that, but I just put the bare minimum on, and you can put some in the centre when you're trying to feed the wires if need be as well. Okay, so let's see if I can put something there that's sitting there holding. Oh, perfect. Oh, bloody beautiful. And that can go back out. That's beautiful. Feed my lead wires through and see what happens from there. So that's through. That's good. Yeah. Okay, and before I forget, put my name tags back onto this tag back on these. Excellent. Got some bulk of the wiring now, so I think I've got 2 more that can possibly go out. So it's just a matter of what size. Yeah, the hole, how much more I could fit through that hole. So this is where you can put a bit of this, once again, Windex. Someone said Windex will help lubricate and then it just will disappear dry. But like I said, I've got this. I'm going to probably use a little bit of this. It's too tight. And go from there. Yeah, so I've got these 2 here to go through. But you unravel it, they're not as thick as it looks. So I'm going to get this one first through. Now the one I just fed through, it's getting quite tight. I did put some of that grease on. Now I put tape on the end. I just made up a small hook, turned it over, very thin, light and stable, and put that through the firewall grommet, and then hook that from the inside and help push it through. And that worked really good, just getting tight. So the next section of this long bit of cable, I'm going to tie it off onto that first section. So I'll just bring it in. So this is the section I just pulled through, and there's still more tails to come through with it. So I'm going to tape them onto this one as clean as I can and as tight, so it's not going to possibly, like a speed hump effect, or rip the tape off before it goes through the grommet. That's the theory. See how we go. I do apologise for some maybe missing footage of the video, guys, of this process, the steps, because the battery in my camera, a tab was broken and it would turn off without me knowing it. The camera would tilt slightly, the battery would disconnect the power, and I wouldn't realise I'm not filming, so sorry about that. Where am I up to? Okay, so I've got all the wire coming off the front harness, the main harness. This is all the back information. All the back information. I've got the light running up, the wire to the light for the cab. Wires all going through that grommet there. Okay, and then through there, and they're just sitting here for now, hidden underneath the ply. So that's all the lights and everything to power the back. What else? I've changed my mind on the wiring. For now, I've got nothing coming out where I just showed before. What I'm doing is I'm going to try and hide it all in the guard. So it's going to come out, not this one, this is a water one. I've got a few holes there, I've got to work out what they're for, remember, but I can put a new grommet in, feed them out through the bonnet, and it'll hide everything. So this is what I can hide, but the water bottle's down here, the water pump. So I don't want any wiring on the on top of the guard here, if possible. So I'll run it out to the lights, out to the corner, indicators, the horn, power steering pump electric, maybe for an Astra pump. Then you've got some wires coming through across over to here, of course, the indicator over here, high beam, low beam, the heater. I'd like to probably put another grommet in here, so that's just nice and tidy there, it's out of the way. So I'm trying to get rid of anything along the top here, no wiring, just have a wire wherever. There's a couple of holes here, so I can have a wire come straight out to the wiper. Then there's a grommet here, coil, as I've got marked here, so you've got water and oil sensors to run it from here, or maybe off the front raggy, and then sort of underneath the radiator hose, possibly. These are just thoughts and whatnot. So that's where I'm at. So I've got to the stage where I'm pretty happy that I've got the fuse box in, and I've gone through with my components and checked what's going to get screwed next. Okay, so basically this silver surround, it's sort of in two parts. It is loose, but you've got to tighten it up, if that makes sense. I put these screws in by accident. They've got to go in. There's 4 up the top. They've got to go in once the upper fascia is in place. Then the screws that I'm pointing to, that one there, and then there's 2 in the middle and 1 to the far end. They go in with the upper fascia, the panel, instrument panels put in, then the screws can go into their place. This one up, okay, and I've tightened that one there up, okay. I've tightened one up in there. It's a hex head. Is that gonna, yeah, hex head there. Under here is a hex head, that one there. Then you've got the column. I've got one more bolt to put in for that. But up in there. Okay, so that bolt there. And then there's one, where can I get, that one in there. Where is it? I can't see in the camera. Oh, where am I looking? That one there. Okay, so you've got 4 of the hex head or bolts underneath, and then there's the 1, 2, 3 on top. So this is all to stabilize this silver alloy or whatever it is frame here. Okay, this is what everything bolts to. That one up there, I'll have to investigate. It could be just for the instrument panel itself, the upper. But that's what you got to do. You got to tighten what's in behind something out. So I've gone along and marked. Okay, so these screws here are for the control panel to go in for your heater switch. These ones are for a lever for your box here. I've gone along and marked any of the instruments. Okay, so any of these guys, look for where the tags are. Okay, so you've got a tag here and you've got 2 up top. So that's what I've marked. I've just marked in for, it could have been cluster, but I've just got instruments. So I know not to screw them in to anything except for the instruments. In the center here, instrument, that's for that guy. Okay, that's your warning lights and whatever, they come up. Then you've got this one here, and in my case at this stage, if it works, I don't know, I've got a tab up here. I've got a repair. I've got 1 down the bottom and then 2 up the top. 1 down the bottom, 2 up the top. They're just temporary in there for, so yeah, I'll go back in later. Instrument, instrument, instrument. Okay, there's a screw here and a screw got to go there. Okay, so this is for the lower dash panel. Now I've just marked it here, so that's coming up, sorry guys. I've marked it here so it reminds me that there's 2 screw holes underneath. This is for the ashtray. It's a bit tricky, you got to sort of feed it in and dick around and then yeah, put the fascia on. These are for another slide control, I think, these 2. So basically the dash now is solid. This silver section is now solid rigid, and then I'm just working it out from there. So as I put a panel on, I'm making sure that screws line up. So with this panel here, see that you've got 2 down the bottom there. You've got 1 here near the steering column, 1 here near the steering column. Then you've got that one there. That's for, I think, the for the lights, but it screws on to this panel and helps secure the whole panel. Okay, so I've got some light back on the situation. So the wires I have in the middle there, they're I can see my notes, temperature gauge, power antenna, power choke, tacho. So they might run out to the middle, so I've just got them separate there for now. And all these wires out here, they're all wires I can't do anything with at the moment, because I don't have the front end put together. That's not painted as yet. Are you good right there, mate? Is that good? Yeah. Yeah. So inside, what's that for? That's out the back. That's all there. So I don't know if I mentioned, I think I mentioned in my last video that I did a diagram, very basic one, just explaining, so the interior controls, what you're going to need power for, and what wires are going to run that in that direction. And I think I could just tick them off as I do them. For the engine bay, I've done just the same thing with a very bad drawing of a car. So just mark everything that you can think of, or go through photos or a manual to see where things are going to go, and what you have out there to run the wires in that direction. Okay, so this step, just got to set my tripod up, guys, but this step I'm going to be talking about the instructions or the manual just briefly. It might be good for those like myself that don't like reading at all, following diagrams and that, but you got to be persistent at times and just have a bit of a look. So we've got the diagram kit. Okay, so it explains on these pages I've ticked off just what I've had a look at. So it explains what you have, like a fuse panel, you've got 2 signal flashes, everything's pre-wired. So it explains what comes in the kit on that page there. This is just explained to read the steps. Okay, with this here it explains things like you should do a diagram. I was at the wrong back. So it explains to do something like that, guys, just a diagram of where your old wiring layout was. Okay, so even though I've stripped that down, it might help in the future. It also explains you've got GM, Ford and Mopar for this. It breaks down, there's 4 sections. The front section, basically out front, the dash section, then the steering, and then the tail section, what's going out the back. Alright, so I'm up to step 3 of reading this booklet. So I've ticked it off that I've had a look, gone through, and basically it explains to on a large table, like in my previous video, to sort of set it all up, lay it all out, lay all the wiring out. So what I'm going to do is wing it as I do. So what I'm going to do is, I'll bring you in, guys. I'm just going to pick something and run it to that area. So I'm going to start with what I know, where I can put that basically. Okay, so the dimmer, high beam, this is going to have to go to my switch that goes in here, I think, or was it in here? And then these left signal, right signal goes into the steering column. Okay, so this section I just had all here, the brake switch, dimmer switch, high beam, blah blah blah. I've just separated all that because I'm going to start with the blue, light blue and this green wire. So I'm going to pull them out of the mix. So that's the light blue and the green, 22 dimmer power, 73 high beam. So I'm going to separate these now and point them or poke them where the dimmer switch is, and then do the same with others. Okay, so I'm not going to lie, this is a pain in the ass. I'm losing the plot aware of what goes where, and yeah, probably trying to get ahead of myself and think of, if I put a wire through over this point, tape it all together, then I'll be in the wrong spot and I've got to piss around again. So here's where I'm up to, guys. What I've done is each of these individual coils that I taped up earlier from the main pack. Go back to the other videos if you want to have a look for that. I've just unraveled each one and separated to where they're going to go. So for example, one bunch, I worked out these two wires are the dash dimmer switch and headlight. That's so far for them. These two I haven't marked. The white one is trying to think, brake or something. Yeah, brake switch. That's something to do with power for the brake. So I've just put them out of the way for now. These lot over here I haven't marked them. High beam. So that's these ones are anything to do with the the steering column. So you've got your wiper speeds, indicators. That's, I haven't marked them yet, but that's going on there. These two pink ones separated, cigarette lighter and cruise power. So the cruise, actually this cruise power I'm going to put back over with this door lock power. So these are extras, I might put them in later, but any extras I'm going to separate them, so that can actually go with that lot. What's this red one? Okay, so you got a dash gauge power, so I've separated that. That's all I'm going through basically, each roll, breaking them down into their own separate groups now. I'm going to call it a night, that's why I haven't done some of these others. But yeah, just trying to route them off into each separate direction, and trying to work out whether, once I've got it in that location and I've got something to join it to or connect it to, what's the term they use, terminate I think it is, to correct me if I'm wrong guys, and then yeah, you've got to put it in that position, but you've also then got to go back and tape, so it's not just a big mess. Tape it. Some videos I've watched, you've got to do what I'm doing, pull it all out, and then they tape it all, and then put it back in again. Would mean I've just got to undo the fuse box here, 2 bolts, 2 nuts, drop that out, and I've got better access to tape. But I'm calling it a night, that's where I'm at for now, so bear with me and I'll be back for more painful wiring. Stay tuned guys. Alright.